Hello, this is Stacy Simmons, and this is my last screencast for the weeks covering January 27th through February 3rd and March 22nd through March 29th. First, we're going to look at the surface air temperatures from January 27th through the 3rd. As you can see in the beginning of the week, we have relatively similar temperatures with an increase January 30th through the 31st, a drastic decrease on February 1st, and also increasing to the high teens February 2nd through February 3rd. The temperature mean is pretty steady throughout the weeks, which shows that the mean represents high variable highs and lows in temperatures throughout the week. Here we're looking at the humidity for the same week, and as you can see, the dew point for this week is very similar to what the temperatures did, specifically staying steady, going high the 30th and 31st with that low in the 1st, not increasing again the 2nd and 3rd. The relative humidity stayed steady for the first part of the week, and where there was a decrease in the dew point temperature, there was an increase in the relative humidity. Towards the end of the week, both the dew point and relative humidity hold similar patterns on the February 2nd through the 3rd. Next, we're going to go to the surface air temperatures for March 22nd through March 29th. You can see that throughout the week there are highs and lows for each of the days. This represents the day and night variations. The peaks in the high temperatures are in the early afternoons, then cool off towards the evenings. The major temperatures and changes in temperatures for the week was at the end of the week, with the highest temperatures reaching 15 degrees Fahrenheit. As you can see that the mean temperature represents the variable temperature with the steady temperatures throughout the week, and the high towards the end averaging out all of the temperatures. There. Here we're looking at the humidity from March 22nd through March 29th. The relative humidity stayed fairly steady throughout the week with a low on the 22nd and the 28th. It followed what the temperature did by the end of the week with a peak high at the 29th, as well as the dew point having a peak high. Looking at the temperatures for both weeks, you can see that the temperature range for March has a greater range of temperature because the seasonal change is moving towards warmer temperatures. Now looking at January 8th, we see that there's high pressure systems up in the north, while there is an occluded front with a low pressure system in the south, and a stationary front with two lows in southeast Alaska. The changes in humidity have a direct effect on the weather and movement of different air masses. With high humidity, there's enough water in the air to make it rain or snow. If you look on January 28th, the high pressures are from the north, showing the warmer temperatures coming from the south. On January 31st, warm air is also moving north from the south of Alaska with two stationary fronts. One extends along the interior and one moves along the Seward Peninsula. On February 1st, you see that there are two lows with occluded fronts right here and right here. There's high pressure systems to the north and to the northeast. On this day, it was the coldest temperature. This was the big dip in temperature, and it was because there was a cold air mass that moved in over Kotzebue from the interior. So the cold interior, there was a air mass that was traveling, and you can see that by the pressures, changes in pressure too. Here we're looking at March 22nd, and you can see that there are two low pressure systems in the interior of Alaska, and right here towards the peninsula. There's an occluded front with a low right here, and also another occluded front further south with highs over to this west, and then there are 3 highs right here over on the east in Canada. During this time, the temperatures and dew point stayed fairly steady, and the temperatures, although there was the day warming, they stayed fairly low at night, below 15, 20 below, and during the day they would get up to as high, especially in the beginning of the week, as high as 0. On March 25th, you can see that there is a trough boundary right here, which represents low pressure, and there was two low pressures here in interior, well, more towards the west of Alaska, with another low pressure cold front moving in and a stationary boundary, with an occluded front right here stretching along southeast Alaska. At this point, again, the temperatures were fairly steady, daytime warming, nights were cold, but they were steady and stayed that way until more towards the 29th, which we're going to look at next. Okay, here on the 29th, you've got a big low pressure system, which is moving air clockwise with a cold air. So it's a low pressure system with cold air overtaking warm. You can see here that there is a lot of precipitation, chance for snow over here, especially around Kotzebue, with a low pressure right here. But another low pressure system taking over warm right here in more southern Alaska, with a lot of rain coming out right here. There's a high pressure system to the west, and but this was about the time where both the temperature, the relative humidity, and the dew point were raised. So the temperatures on the 29th got up to 15 degrees towards the afternoon, and show again the daytime warming, but there was a drastic increase in temperature on the 29th. So I guess based on my conclusion of the weather, and number 6, it says, based on your analysis, which of the weather conditions that occurred best represent the Kotzebue climate in both January, February, and March? I would have to say that was pretty sporadic in temperatures. There was seasonal warmth. You can tell I talked about that early with the temperature ranges in March being greater, but that Kotzebue obviously gets a range of temperatures with the cold air systems moving in from interior Alaska, so bringing sporadic spring weather. And that concludes my last screen cast session, and I enjoyed this class, and I hope everybody takes care and gets a great grade. Thank you.